Welcome, old sport, to the Movies to Watch Before You Die podcast. My name is Gab, and I'm here with my cousin and co-host.
Dylan.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know, because I was trying to think of a 1920s time thingy and I couldn't, so I just said my name.
Aw, that was really unfortunate. And today we are discussing a movie that I have nominated as one to watch before you die, and we are referring to the oh my gosh, what is this?
11.
2011. Wow, Woody Allen film, Midnight in Paris. Dylan, you had seen this before, correct?
Probably in like late 2011 or early 2012, I saw this. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
old top, that I failed you before. I got that. That's what I got now. Um,
See?
I think I saw it probably back in college by myself on like some website where I should have been watching movies. Like one, two,
Sure.
three movies, you have virus.com.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I actually had only ever seen this once before, but I saw it in the movie theaters. I remember going, and I'll share that story with you a little later in the pod. I was really pleasantly surprised that you hadn't been really familiar with it. You know, that kind of always makes this a little bit more exciting when you're not super familiar.
Definitely not. I had seen it once and I remember liking it the first time I saw it, but that's all I remember.
Cool, cool. So I want to start, before we get into it by saying that I think I speak for both of us when I say that unequivocally this is a very pro Woody Allen podcast.
Take it easy there. I don't know how pro Woody. I like Woody Allen movies. I'm not
I
like
just
a
I
big
want to
Woody
make
Allen supporter.
well, Dylan, here's the thing. After watching this movie, I started to kind of come to terms with the fact that like the next time we see Woody Allen's name in a headline, it's probably going to
Dead.
be yeah, that he's gone. And that is so upsetting to me.
I'm about to go very Larry David on you. It's okay. It's enough.
I
I
just,
think we're good.
I was talking to Corey about how like Rachel McAdams was in a couple of his movies, and then he was like kind of like Emma Stone, and then he was like, "Well, who is it now?" And I was like, "Well,
Clint Eastwood's still pumping him out, and he's like 90 something.
yeah, but only the good die young, Dylan."
I feel like that goes against your liking of Woody. Woody Allen's no spring chicken, Gab.
I know, I know. Anyway,
His daughter
uh,
wife can tell you that.
hey, listen, she's been willingly around in that relationship for like what, 30 years?
There's some kind of Stockholm thing going on there. I don't know, man. Listen, some good movies. Strange. Everything about it strange.
Speaking of Stockholm syndrome, I read something recently that said your pet doesn't love you. It's just a victim of Stockholm syndrome. And I was like, oh, fuck.
He has no your pet has no choice but to love you, but they love you. Yeah. Just
Sure.
like people with Stockholm syndrome. Sure.
Exactly. Same thing with Woody Allen and his wife,
Sun Yi or whatever her name is. Yeah.
Soon Yi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, I just want to make sure people know that you in particular are a big supporter of Woody Allen's.
Why are why are you making that known? Why is that a thing?
I just want to make sure they know.
Why is this
Anyway,
your opener?
I don't know, Dylan, what else was I going to say?
You
What the
could ask
movie's
me what
about?
the fuck it's about.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, why don't you tell the people what the movie's about?
Owen Wilson is Gil, and every night at midnight in Paris, he is being transported back to the 20s, a period he has great nostalgia for and thinks was the best time ever. And does the nostalgia live up to the hype or not? Is really what he's going through. Also, he's got a wife who he doesn't like that much.
Okay. So I don't feel like your heart was in that, but that's okay. Why
You
don't
want me to
you
try
read?
again?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
According to IMDb, while on a trip to Paris with his fiance's family, a nostalgic screenwriter finds himself mysteriously going back to the 1920s every day at midnight.
Loved it. Okay, good. Taglines?
I think for the first time in the history of this podcast, I can say no, there are no taglines.
Wow. If you're a prolific writer director like Woody Allen, do you need
On the
taglines?
posters, it just said like written and directed by Woody Allen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tagline enough. One thing I will say that this movie made me realize is that I haven't seen enough modern Woody Allen movies. And by modern, I mean like 90s and later.
Yeah. I would call that definitely the modern era. Yeah. Post
Have
Annie
you
Hall.
seen, well, yeah. Have you seen the one that always comes to mind for me is Vicky Cristina Barcelona?
I did see that a long time ago. I don't remember liking it.
Okay, interesting. And then there are a couple of other ones too that are like I think he's got like a couple with Alec Baldwin.
I know Wonder Wheel was one of them. That was the one with Emma
Yeah.
Stone. Yeah,
Yeah. I just haven't seen any of them. So maybe they'll come up on the podcast.
we shall see.
So, oh God, I guess I'll tell you now. So, I saw this movie in the movie theaters in the Deer Park Cinema. Are you familiar in the outlet mall?
Oh yeah, the Regal and the Tanger outlets. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So, when I was in I guess I was in college. It would have been like between the summer of freshman year of college and sophomore year of college, for us both. My friend Dana, right? You know Dana.
Mhm.
Dana and I went to a concert at the Crazy Donkey, where she wanted to see this band, and in particular wanted to see this band because there was a cute boy there that also likes that band that she met at school at St. John's and really wanted to get to know. So I basically like wingman with her to go to this concert to see some band I had never heard of, to meet some guy I didn't know about. And he knew somebody there. And so, as a good wing woman, right, I start hanging out with the guy that her now husband and father of her child brought to this concert. So this guy's name was Kyle. And Kyle and I kind of hit it off. And it's hard to say whether or not it was Stockholm syndrome because I was wingmanning for Dana or if I really liked him. But we went out a couple of times. And at one point, he invited me out to dinner at Chili's. So he picked me up. He drove to my parents' house. He picked me up and we went to Chili's. And we were actually, now that I'm saying it, now that I recall, we were meeting up with Dana and Sean. It was going to be a double date. So he picks me up. We're driving to Chili's, and he looks at me with all sincerity and goes, "Can you read me the signs on the highway? I'm not wearing my glasses." And I
And
was
he's
like,
driving.
he's driving. And I was like, okay, sure. So I read him the signs and we missed the exit like three times because he
Watch
couldn't
out for
see
that
where to get
blur.
off. It was horrible. But we ended up going out to dinner with Dana and Sean, and then we went to see a movie, just the two of us. And we went to see Midnight in Paris.
Well, you
And
went
at
to
the end
see
of
a
the
movie. He
movie,
went to listen to a movie.
he went to listen to a
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. Yeah. Really, like in retrospect, what the actual fuck? But at the end of the film, without giving anything away, there is a woman who introduces herself for the first time and she says, "Do you recall
That her name is Gabrielle.
that her name is Gabrielle?" And of course, as you know, because you've known me your entire life, my name is Gabrielle,
Oh my
right?
God.
I know. You have only ever known me as Gab, but it is true. My government name is Gabrielle. And this guy, Kyle, leaned over to me and said something to the effect of, like, "Oh, Gabrielle is such a beautiful name," or something. And I was so fucking skeeved out by this guy that I actually never saw him again. That was
Wait,
it.
why? What?
I don't
I
know.
bet he
It
thought
gave
he
me
was
the
hitting a
ick.
great line with you.
And, how could he have been prepared for that, right? It must have been like so honest and authentic, but it just skeeved me out and I was like, I'm done with this. And I'm not positive, and unfortunately we'll never know. We have no way of knowing, but I do think it impacted his friendship with Sean, who is now my best friend's husband.
Well, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, he got a wife out of it and he lost a friend. What are you going to do, right? It's a give and take.
There you go.
So now the funny thing is, at the end of this movie, I of course watched it with Corey, and Corey said something similar to me, but it was so sweet and lovely, and I was like, "Oh, I love you."
It's like you like him more. Yeah.
It's almost like I like him more than I like that guy, Kyle, who couldn't see anything. So anyway, that's my story. I guess we can get into the movie now.
You mean we can get into our opinions now?
Yeah, right? We've got nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Should we give a brief synopsis, or are we assuming people have seen it?
Well, in opinions, the brief synopsis is Woody Allen. Woody Allen. Oh my God, that was a slip because I was talking about Owen Wilson, but Owen Wilson is a thinly veiled. If this movie was made longer in the past, Woody Allen would have just played the main role,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
But the whole thing is about Gil being a screenwriter, but he wants to be a novelist and reminiscing about the 1920s. Without ever being explained, at midnight, he is transported back to the 1920s in Paris, where he's meeting all these literary idols or art idols in general, because they're not all authors. And it's really about him losing track of the present as he starts to become more and more devoted to this nostalgia, and the movie sort of reflecting on, is the 1920s the greatest period ever? Because then you have characters who were in the 1920s talking about, oh my God, the
the
1800s were
1890s.
the best time ever. And then those characters, are probably reminiscing about the Renaissance and stuff like that.
Yeah, Yeah. Okay. Let's officially go into opinion time. Okay, me first. Dylan, I have two big, like, overarching things I want to talk about. Number one, nobody writes a simple, buttoned up story with such creativity and imagination as Woody Allen. Like, it's just this beautiful, simple little story of a man who goes back in time and learns a lesson, and it's over. There's no fucking sequel. There's no like let's CGI a bunch of explosions. It isn't going to become part 1 and part 2. It's just a story.
Yeah, that's not really his thing. I did find myself saying that in the hands of like a different director, I could see this being either more focused on the science fiction element of how is he doing this,
Yep.
and is he desperate to get back to this. And it reminds me of Twilight Zone episodes like Next Stop Willoughby, where in a different version of this, the ending could be everyone thinks he's insane and he's lost his mind, but he does find a way to escape into his perfect time, the time he feels he was meant to be in. And it ends with them reading a passage about a conversation Salvador Dali and a novelist had, and
Yeah.
we know that it's him, even if the people who think he's crazy don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't really go that way. Instead, it's just at midnight, there's a car, it's the 20s, don't question it. And then at
Yeah.
midnight, there's a carriage, it's the 1800s, don't question it.
But I love that because I think modern this movie is from 2011, but I think a lot of modern screenwriters do get so invested in the how, and then all of the movies become about the how. And like I like that we didn't have to. I was in.
I do think for the tone that the movie's going for, it would be for the worse if we added a half hour to this movie that has to be about Gil somehow either inventing this time travel or figuring out this time travel, yada yada.
Yeah.
To give my opinion about this movie, my strongest opinion about this movie is there is one actor in a movie that is filled with very famous actors and actresses who steals this movie and every moment he's into me.
Okay, so if it there are two obvious front runners here. One
Yes.
of them is who I believe. The other one is who I could see why you would say this. I just personally, he's my number 2. My first guess is Hemingway.
Absolutely. Corey Stoll as Ernest Hemingway is fucking incredible. He's not Corey Stoll anymore. He is a different person. And every time he spoke, I was like, I have to hear every word he has to say.
And the crazy thing is, like, what an accurate, like, I'm, oh gosh. So we don't, oh God, I'm going to say something really ignorant, Dylan, and I hope that you help me. I am assuming that we don't have like footage of Hemingway talking, right? Like we don't know exactly what he sounded like, or if we do, it's not, we don't have a lot of it. But what what's his last name? Stoll?
Yes.
What Corey Stoll does with his dialogue is it sounds like you're reading a Hemingway novel. Like if you've ever read The Sun Also Rises or oh God, what's the other one? For
Farewell to
Whom the Bell
Arms.
Tolls, Farewell to
I
Arms.
think
Like
From the Bell Tolls is Metallica, isn't it? Is that also like a by him?
maybe I don't know. It's a Hemingway novel for sure.
You're right. You're right. I
Yeah,
just
what the
also was like
fuck?
Metallica rules.
Oh my God. I'm like, don't let me embarrass myself. But
By the
he
way, we
is
do have interviews with Ernest Hemingway when he
damn,
was
okay.
older before he died in 1961. But yes,
Do you know how he died?
then he, you know, what did he have for dessert? A 12 gauge shotgun.
Yeah, but it was a shotgun from Abercrombie. Isn't that interesting?
And Fitch?
Yeah,
I didn't know they sold those.
I know they did before they got into like teenager fashion design.
Wait, it was
They
like
were a hunting store.
so they were like, we could go the direction of Lockheed Martin, but we're gonna go into fast fashion.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why they always had like a moose head on the wall. You know what I mean? Like it was like reminiscent of those days when they were like a hunting store. Another side note, I have a package from Abercrombie and Fitch downstairs waiting for me. So as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm gonna go pick up my package.
I hope it's not a shock.
We shall see. Will there is this the final episode of the podcast? We'll
Oh my
find out next
God.
time. Okay, so Corey Stoll, first of all, did you watch House of Cards?
I did. I watched, I think, at least like the first three seasons, and I remember liking him. And I've seen him in other things, like I'm sure we'll talk more about what he's in, but Ant-Man specifically, I think of, and he always was sort of a similar character to me, and he always looked sort of the same. He disappears.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. He was in Girls, which Corey and I recently watched. He played like a gay news anchor, and he was so good. But as Hemingway, it's like, holy shit. Holy shit.
It gives me a different view of him as an actor that I'm like, "Ah, I wish I was seeing him in more roles and more
Yeah.
big roles because he clearly can do more than I thought he could."
Yeah. Oh, just phenomenal. Second runner up, I was gonna say if you didn't say Corey Stoll, it was gonna be Adrian Brody as Dolly.
Nah, I think Adrian Brody is just like he's there for 5 minutes of screen time where he sort of just keeps saying Dali.
Dolly. But yeah, but it's silly. It's like such a
It's
fun little
fine.
part of that
Yeah,
world.
it's fine.
Kathy Bates is amazing as
Kathy
Gertrude
Bates is
Stein.
always good. I like I said, just nobody in this movie pulled me like Corey Stoll did. I also think Owen Wilson watching this movie, I'm like, you definitely at some point have your really big dramatic performance in you. You know what I mean? I could
Yeah.
see him doing like Jim Carrey, Eternal Sunshine, or an Adam Sandler, you know, maybe not Uncut Gems, maybe like a Punch Drunk Love. Like there, Owen Wilson has the ability, I think, that he could do something big dramatic wise.
He's got the chops, yeah. The second thing I was going to say is that Owen Wilson does such a phenomenal job of playing the Woody Allen character without doing a caricature of Woody Allen.
Yes, because this character is
It's
just
Woody
it's Woody
Allen.
Allen. Yeah,
Yeah.
like clearly, we said it before, if the movie was made 40 years earlier, Woody Allen would have been the star of it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And he could have very easily been neurotic and obsessed and all the things that we associate with Woody Allen, but instead he's Owen Wilson. He's like a different he is Gil. And Gil has some of those tendencies, but he's not just
I think it's clear
doing the
based on the
Woody
fact that
Allen.
he's a writer and he's dealing with this romantic situation and he's a little bit, I don't want to call him an outsider, but all these other people are pedantic is the word they use, whereas he thinks, more highly of himself and
Hmm.
he thinks that there's so much he can give. It's a pretty standard. I could have just described every other Woody Allen character ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think he does a great job of not doing the bit.
Now, let me ask you something, because I feel like a lot of what I was reading about when I was reading about the making of this movie is Woody Allen particularly describing Inez as this horrible, horrendous wife, and as is Rachel McAdams' character. Is she terrible, or are they both kind of awful?
So it's interesting that you say that because the first time I watched this movie, I distinctly remember thinking that she really wasn't that bad. But this time watching it back, I was like, oh my God, she's a nightmare.
I think I did the reverse. I think the first time I watched this movie, I was like, Inez sucks. This time watching it, I was like, oh no, you're both terrible. Neither, like, I was like, I think the least believable part of the movie is not them teleporting back to the 1920s, but I'm like, why are these people engaged to each other?
I'm confused though, because I feel like I just don't know how you could possibly think that she's not that bad.
She's not good, but he's doing the exact same thing. Like, neither
How
one of them is
so?
interested in doing either thing that the other one ever wants to do. She ends up, spoilers, cheating on him with Michael Sheen. He's clearly trying to cheat on her with Marion Cotillard and flirting with Gabrielle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're both
Which
bad.
can you blame him? Sorry.
They're both
Sorry,
bad.
we are related.
Also, I did hate Inez's parents though, who are clearly meant to be very hateable. It's obviously a pot shot at like Tea Party Democrat, not Tea Party
Tea Party
Republicans at the
Republicans.
time.
Yeah. Quick question. You may have background on this, you may not, but the name Inez that they came up with, are you at all familiar with No Exit, the play by Jean-Paul Sartre?
Only in the sense of I literally like that's all I know.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
I'm curious if so Inez is the character who is very vain. She's like the one who always tries to seduce people and get things with her looks. I'm wondering if that play was written in that time period and if it is a direct like if that's why
Reference?
he
Yeah,
referenced.
it
Thank you.
probably is. I do
You
feel like
want to I'm gonna look it up,
while you look it up, I do want to not too quickly go off of Ernest Hemingway because every line he
please.
says is this, I don't want to say mysterious, but it's this dark, nuanced, somewhat confrontational. Like, he's not trying to fight him, but he is saying he is ready for any fight. He is ready for death at all times, basically. He says things like, "You'll never write well if you fear dying." Gil asks him to read his book, and he goes, "I hate it." "How do you hate it? You haven't even read it yet." "I'm an author. I hate every other author." Like, he just these things that he says, and I'm just repeating it, but he says it with such intensity and eye contact, and everything he has to say feels like it's the most important thing that's ever been said. And I don't know
Yeah.
if that's just, the movie making Ernest Hemingway seem important. I don't know if it is. I guess it's partially on the dialogue and partially on the way he is shot. I feel like when he is shot, there's nothing else around a lot of the time. Like, he is the center frame. There's not other people. It's just, here's Hemingway.
And when he speaks in the same like syntax that he writes, right? His sentences are pretty long. There's a lot of lists. There's like a lot of I don't know. I haven't read a Hemingway book in a long
One
time.
that I wrote was, "No subject is terrible if the story is true, if the prose is clean and honest, and if it affirms courage and grace under pressure." And I'm like,
Yes.
that is how somebody writes. That's not how somebody speaks usually, but
Yeah.
he speaks it, and you don't at all jive up against it. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
And I mean, if you have read a Hemingway novel in English class in 12th grade, you know that grace under pressure is like his big thing. That and everyone is what's the word I'm looking for? Men who can't get it up.
Impotent.
Impotent. Thank you.
I don't know why I wrote this down. Gil says, "I come from the 2000th millennium." Who would ever phrase it that way?
Yeah, what?
Like, if you just said, "I come from," like, my present is the year 2000. Okay. "I come from the 21st millennium." Okay. Nobody's referred to it as the 2000th millennium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. I also like, and I feel like there's a scene that's just commenting on some of the type of art that these people he's meeting are, because there's a moment where he meets up with Adrian Brody as Salvador Dali. And it's not just Adrian Brody, Salvador Dali, but it's two other famous surrealists. I can't remember their names. Oh my God, it's not important enough for me to look it up. What's his name? Buñuel is one of them. I don't remember who the other one is, but they are talking about this insurmountable problem of Gil being in love with Adriana, and a man in love with a woman from a different era. And one of them goes, "I see a photograph. I see a film. I see this insurmountable problem." And Dali goes, "I see a rhinoceros." And I'm just like,
Yes.
yes, that does feel like a commentary on, it's something, but it's not just what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A rhinoceros. So good. I want to talk a little bit about the relationship between F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda, which comes up quite a bit in the beginning of Gil's time in the 1920s and eventually kind of fades as we get deeper into Gil getting feedback on his novel from Gertrude Stein. But the actress who plays Zelda, I know her most famously from Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, starring opposite Lindsay Lohan.
That is not what I know her from, but okay.
What do you know her from?
Well, I'm going to say it later, but the movie Goon, I feel like, is what I know her from mostly, and Scott Pilgrim she's in as well.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I think that what is it, Tom Hiddleston as F. Scott Fitzgerald?
Yes.
The two of them are fabulous.
They're very believably a couple. I do just feel like it's kind of disappointing the way they just disappear, because at first it's made out for them to be so important. And then I feel like the moment like Adriana comes in, we don't care about the Fitzgeralds anymore. I think we see
Yeah.
her one more time, but we don't get much more of them.
Well, I think the idea is that they are, because as I understand, the downfall of his like career as a writer was her, right? And like how kind of zany she was and how much she required of him and how he kind of chose her over his writing. And so I like the idea that they sort of disappear because that's kind of how it happened, like they disappeared. Am I incorrect?
I don't know. I kind of like it being put that way though, and it's even really pointed out in the movie. I think Gil says something about, you can see how all over the place she is, but you can see how much he loves her and how distracted he is by how much he cares about her. And he runs off from a scene at one point because she's just run off with somebody else at one point to go dancing or something. And he's like, I gotta go. I gotta follow this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's a good point and a good literary reference. I do feel like there are times where I'm like, So I think I'm just one of them ignorant folk, and this is going right over my head. You know what I mean? There's plenty of moments
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
where, as smart as I want to sound, I didn't remember the surrealist Buñuel without ever looking it up. You know what I mean? I'm not
yeah. Oh,
that
yeah,
deep
yeah.
on my Spanish directing surrealists.
Yeah, there's a lot of references here that are not as obvious as Hemingway, of Scott Fitzgerald, Cole Porter, right? Like some of them are a much deeper cut. What I do like is that you fully understand what is happening, right? If it's a person that you should know and that Gil is impressed by, it's unquestionable.
Yeah, and I feel like F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ernest Hemingway should be famous enough names that you know, like, oh, he's in the past now.
Yeah, Gertrude Stein.
Yeah, even though his 2011 clothes fit in well enough with the 1920s.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's dressed like Woody Allen, right? Like he's in khakis and a button down. It's very plain. One thing I do want to point out is no cell phones.
What do you mean? In the present scenes, you mean? Obviously not in the 1920s.
Well, what I'm saying is like I don't believe that Gil has a cell phone ever in the present, but he certainly doesn't have it when he's in the past. One would assume that in the modern era of 2011, he would have a phone. And I think that is something that would make this movie not work, but Woody Allen just they just don't acknowledge it.
I
Like
was
it
going to
just it
say,
works well.
I think that's going to the movie version we were talking about earlier, where it's becoming more of an issue of the technology would only be brought up to have to either show how he's time traveling or show how he's from the future or something. And the movie doesn't care about any of that. He never is making a point to say to them, I'm from 2011. Bet
Yeah.
on this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not there to change anything. He's just there to experience it.
But I think what I mean is Woody Allen does a really good job of just not bringing up the
Yeah.
technology at all in the movie. So there's never a point where you're like, his phone was in his pocket. What happened? Like it just doesn't, you never see it. Any conversations that are had on the hotel phone, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just very well done to make it like not a problem.
Well, I bet you he wrote this script 30 years ago. So that's
You
part of this.
think?
Yes. I will say also, I was just saying, Gil, is just showing up and excited to be with these people. But to me, it feels like a little bit of Woody Allen main character syndrome, that all of these great minds immediately from knowing him, they know Gil for a day. And he becomes the most important part of all of their lives. That everybody's revolving. We gotta talk to Gil. Like, you want to go dancing, Gil? And I'm like, no, but they wouldn't give a shit about Gil. But
But
that doesn't matter.
I disagree because I think that during the time, obviously, number one, these are all expats, right? So they're Americans living in Paris. And so there's not a huge lot of them. So anytime there's another American, it's like, oh, you're part of the club, right? Like you are an artist. You left America to live here. That's a big deal. And
Yeah,
then secondarily, I think that the lifestyle that these people led, and obviously that's the depiction in the movie, right? Is that they were fly by the seat of your pants, just have a good time. We are making art. We don't have to follow the rules. Like that's the vibe of these expats. Like we don't have to fall into society in a way that we did in the States because in Paris everything is free and it's very like, 1920s like that vibe is even exaggerated in Paris. So I think the fact that they're like, "Oh, it's a new person. Let's go do crazy shit together." That feels very on for that time period and those people.
yeah. It just becomes funny to me the way that, like, he goes back and he's describing these people to Inez at one point, and I'm like, you met these people for a couple hours. You don't know everything about these people either. Like, I, I also, not that it's important, but I was thinking about, so obviously the movie's called Midnight in Paris. Midnight is when he makes the time travel. Is it midnight when he's in the 1920s? Because then I'm like, man, everybody's a fucking night owl back in the day because they're chilling for the entire evening. And I'm like,
Yeah.
does he get back at midnight to the? Again, I'm thinking about these things that don't matter.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. You're doing the I'm confused
I'm doing
about
the
this
overanalyzing of the
the
timeline.
timeline thing. Yeah.
Let me also say, it just cracked me up at one point. The first night he goes there, and they're all like, let's all go do something, Gil. They're at like a bar or something, and they're watching. There's one woman dressed as a flapper dancing, and I'm like, this could not have. Was this the height of entertainment back then? That we were all like, look at this one woman dancing. It's incredible.
How about when they went to the Moulin Rouge? I looked at Corey and said, they're going to get tuberculosis.
They the DeBerg, and they went to Moulin Rouge, and it was one of the characters from Moulin Rouge too. I was like, oh my god, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Toulouse.
It was such a nice little crossover. Obviously, and I want to have this discussion, right? But I think everybody has nostalgia for a certain time period. And when people say, oh, I have nostalgia for the 1920s, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, we have very much made this feel like a very fancy and like exciting time to be alive. I cannot fucking get behind. I have nostalgia for the 1890s. Like, I'm sorry. What is she on about? Like, they went to the Moulin Rouge and they were there, and this guy is like with his big beard and his glasses, and I'm like, this sucks.
I think that's asinine, Gab, because if you can buy that he's nostalgic for the 1920s, which Gil really should be warning all those guys that in a couple of years things are going to get bad. This
Yeah,
could be a
it's gonna
very
get rough.
depressing time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Greatly depressing.
yeah, obviously, it's the same thing where she has this reverence for these minds of the 30-year earlier period. There's always going to be nostalgia for 30 years earlier. That's
Yeah,
why we
but
have
I'm
all
just
this
saying
stuff
I
about,
disagree.
the 80s and the 90s now. And you had, when we were growing up, 70s and 80s stuff. And it's like, there's always going to be love for the period back then. So I think if we had gotten one more scene with the 1890s guys, they would have been talking about the 1860s. And thank God
Well,
they're
they
not in
were
America then,
talking
because they
about
would
the
have been like, oh, that
Renaissance.
pre-Civil War time was the best.
Slaves.
Yeah.
Um, they did talk about the Renaissance and Michelangelo and
Yes.
all
And
of
they
them.
have
Yeah.
their moment to speak about, oh, this would have been the better period.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of the movie, is saying you only get the present. So stop
Yeah.
reminiscing about those times.
Now, let's get into this. Is there a time period that you feel you would prefer to have been born in or that you are nostalgic for?
I'm obviously, as somebody who grew up on movies, obviously, I'm very nostalgic for lots of periods. Like, I always think about, there's a time period where in the movie theater in 1982, at the same time, it's The Thing and E.T. And I think I'm trying to remember what other famous movie it is, but
Isn't
there's
E.T. 1989?
no.
I actually think it's 1992, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay, wait. So The Thing is June 25th, 1982. So I think it's like the weekend before is E.T.
No, I'm telling you, E.T. is like 89 or 90. I'm always right.
Okay, you sure about that?
Yeah.
Domestic box office for June of 1982. So in theaters all at the same time would have been Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Blade Runner, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Poltergeist, and The Thing.
I guess Drew Barrymore was a little kid, huh?
Yeah, she was like 10.
Okay.
Younger,
Okay.
maybe.
Whatever. Anyway, so you're nostalgic for E.T. I got it. I
No,
get
I'm
it.
nostalgic for the 80s and classic movies, but would I want to live there? Hell no. You know what I mean? Although, if I had enough money, I could live like a king, I feel like, based on the time. I could already own a house in the 1980s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So many
But
briefcases, though.
at the moment that I like didn't want to go out for food and I wanted to Uber eat something, I'd be very disappointed and be like, fuck
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Do you feel there's a time period that you would really rather live in? Because there's too many creature comforts now that I would lose out on, that I couldn't actually do it. Now I'm turning into Nebuchadnezzar Woody Allen, where I'm like, I couldn't do it if I couldn't have my cell phone and my ESPN.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think honestly, I thought about this a lot after watching the movie, and I think if there's any time period that I would want to have lived in, it would probably be honestly like that like Y2K era. Like if I could have been just a little bit older to
I was
have
gonna say, I was like, Gab, you were
experienced.
alive then.
No, I remember it well, but I was a child, right? So like when I think about like the blow up furniture and the butterfly clips and like the pop music and all that stuff, I would have liked to have been at least a teenager because for Y2K, right, when it turned 2000, we were 8.
Yeah.
So if I could have been 16, I think I would have enjoyed like growing up in that time. Do you ever listen to a song on the radio from like when we were in high school and think like, can you imagine being in a nightclub when like this was the song that the DJ was playing? Like evacuate the dance floor. I'm like, that would have been so funny if we were at like Turtle Bay
I
listening to
guess I
that
feel like they
song.
still play a lot of that stuff now, though.
They do, but it's because we are nostalgic for that. So I would have liked to have been there in the moment, like when it was happening.
Okay, that's fair. Honestly, I feel like yours is such a small change too. You're like, just give me like 5 years back. Is what you
Yeah,
said.
like I wish that I could have been Lizzie McGuire's age when Lizzie McGuire was on TV.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best I can do because
And
otherwise I'm like I don't want to give up my iPhone.
see, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, you lose out. We got it very easy now, except for the whole collapsing, crumbling society and possible fascist takeover, and
Right,
the
right.
economy at a stumbling point, people not being able to afford homes,
Yeah, 50-year
and
mortgage though.
yeah,
Why rent
that's
from
gonna be great. Yeah,
Why rent from a landlord when you could rent from the bank?
Would you like to die and almost own something?
So let me ask you a question. Corey and I are obviously like hoping to be homeowners within the next like 2 years or so. And I'm wondering if we get a 50-year mortgage, right? And like, I hope we don't have to, but if we do, and we die, what happens?
What do you mean? What happens?
Like, do our children have to pay our mortgage, or does the bank just go, oh, well,
Yes, one of those.
which one?
Do your children want to pay that mortgage?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
talked to them yet.
Well, there you go.
Okay,
That's
interesting.
something you'll have to establish before you're dead.
Wow. Yeah, 30 years sounds way better. Also, are you going to be like more likely to get a mortgage as a 30-year person because of the crazy amounts of interest? Or sorry, a 50-year person because of the crazy amounts of interest, or a 30-year person because you'll be paying more per month?
I was going to say over 50 years also, you're just going to end up paying so much more money in interest than you would.
I read an article. I really did read an article. This isn't a way of saying I watched a TikTok. I read an article that said that if you get a 50-year mortgage on like a $700,000 house, you're going to end up paying over $1 million in interest over 50 years.
Yeah, you're making your monthly, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're making your monthly payment like $200 cheaper a month, but over the life of it, you're paying way more
That's so, why would they do like why?
because it's easier than actually helping younger people be able to afford to live while keeping rich people rich. Gap. I'm about to go Louis Giorgione over here.
I hate it.
Okay, okay.
It's
Society is
fucking
bad.
crazy. It's so bad. But it's like at the same time, as a young person who'd like to buy a house, it's like, well, I guess I'll just die and it'll be someone else's problem. Like, I don't know.
I blame Ronald Reagan.
Well, the 30-year one wasn't so bad.
Yeah, that's an FDR thing. How have we not
Oh,
improved things since FDR?
I
How
don't
have we
know.
not improved anything since then? We've only
I
gotten
know.
worse.
He was definitely the best president. You know what? I take it back. I'm nostalgic for if you wait, do you want to hear something so funny? The other night, Corey said something about Corey goes, I don't remember how this came up, but he goes, I actually wrote a paper in high school on Eleanor Roosevelt. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, did you do it because you wanted to or because you had to? And he goes, no, I really wanted to. She was cool. She was like this really strong woman and she was in a wheelchair. I just thought that was so fucking funny. And I laughed so hard. And he was like, I'm so glad you get my humor.
That so reminds me of in Clerks 2, there's a whole bit about
I don't care.
you'd have to be as blind as Anne Frank not to see that. And he keeps mixing up Anne Frank and Helen Keller. See, you liked it. Fuck you.
I did. I did. That was better than the whole first Clerks movie.
Clerks is a great movie. Congress said so, and they're always right.
That's right. We love them.
Yeah.
All right, let me see. Do I have any more opinions about this movie? I do think Inez is a raging bitch. Do you know anybody like the guy she ends up cheating on him with? Because I do.
I don't think like not anybody that I hang out with because I wouldn't hang out with somebody like him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but like no from work or from
Yeah, of course I've known people like that. Everybody knows an asshole who knows everything.
Sure.
What's his name? Paul. Paul's an asshole who knows everything. You ever met one of those guys? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just asking.
He's correcting the tour guide. I'm like, oh my God.
I love when Gil gets to use what he learned from being in the past against Paul.
Yes, but the thing is, he just also sounds like a lunatic because they have no way of confirming what he says. And Inez even says to him, she's like, when did you read a biography about Rodin? He's like, you think I would read a biography about them? Like, no. And it's like, so aren't you just admitting like I made that up? Like
Well, he did make it up. That's the thing. He knows because he
to
was
her,
there.
he did, which I do. There is one funny line at one point where he says something about unless she's right, in which case I should see a neurologist. Like he thinks like, well, maybe I am crazy.
You got anything else?
I do not have anything else opinion wise.
All right, then I guess it's time to go into the facts.
Starting with our ratings on the tomato meter, it has a 93% with 211 fresh reviews and 16 rotten.
Yes.
An audience score of 83% with an average score of 4 out of 5. On IMDb, it has a 7.6 out of 10. It was released May 22nd, 2011, with a budget of $17 million and grossed $151 million. The critics' consensus: it may not boast the depth of his classic films, but the sweetly sentimental Midnight in Paris is funny and charming enough to satisfy Woody Allen fans. A couple of reviews. Roger Ebert gave it 3.5 stars and said Woody Allen must have had a great time writing the screenplay.
Aww.
Keith Phipps from AV Club said entertaining enough, but unmistakably the work of a later, lesser era.
Ugh, shut up.
Nick Roddick from the London Evening Standard, a cinematic froth, Midnight in Paris passes the time prettily enough, but neither its characters nor its sense of place really stands up in the light of day.
Shut up.
Ty Burr from the Boston Globe, a sweet-natured trifle as flavorful and thin as a crepe.
Yeah.
Which I feel like most reviews were like, it's good. You know what I mean? There were very few were like, it's great.
But that's the thing about Woody Allen, right? He does have some that are great, but so many of his movies are just good. And I love that. I'm good with good. I don't need everything to be a fucking life-changing monumental event.
Well, let's see what they said on Letterboxd.
Okay.
Grace, why didn't Owen Wilson bring his phone to 1920s Paris and make everyone flip their French shit? Jake Aldacoffey, I saw a tweet the other day about how Midnight in Paris is about a man who goes to 1920s France and instead of warning everyone about the Nazis, he tries to get Hemingway to read his shitty novel. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about this since I read that tweet.
That is fucking brilliant.
None of the depression, none of the Nazis. He's just like, but will you read my book?
I'm trying to be a writer.
Wow. Tamar, I want to be in that exact same level of delusional so I can meet Ratatouille. And Holly, he cheated, but it's okay because his fiance doesn't like Paris. It was directed by Woody Allen, who also directed Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Wonder Wheel, and Bullets Over Broadway. Also, I feel like we talked about, Annie Hall. What was the one we did? Love and Death.
Yep. Bananas.
Bananas, yes. The screenplay is written by Woody Allen, who also wrote Annie Hall, Manhattan, and Bananas. It stars Owen Wilson as Gil, who you may know from Wedding Crashers, Zoolander, and Cars. Rachel McAdams as Inez, who you know from Mean Girls, The Notebook, and Red Eye. Michael Sheen as Paul, who you know from Frost Nixon, and as Arrow from the Twilight franchise. Marion Cotillard as Adriana, who you may know from The Dark Knight Rises and Inception. Tom Hiddleston as F. Scott Fitzgerald, who you may know from Kong Skull Island and as Loki in the MCU. Alison Pill as Zelda Fitzgerald, who you may know from Goon, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And what was the one you said, Gab?
Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen.
Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, of course. Adrian Brody, Salvador Dali, you may know from Predators and The Pianist. And The Brutalist, was that the one he just won the Oscar for?
I don't know.
I'm going to say it is then. Kathy Bates as Gertrude Stein, you may know from Misery and American Horror Story.
And the RMS Titanic.
And Titanic. And Corey Stoll as Ernest Hemingway, who you might know from Ant-Man and The Strain.
And Girls.
And House of Cards. Go watch. Everyone's homework is to watch something with Corey Stoll, because apparently he's really good.
Yeah, apparently he's really good, but what you choose to watch, he might just be okay.
He's good. The work isn't always.
Yeah. Amen. He has a threesome with Robin Wright and Kevin Spacey in House of Cards. Did you get that far?
If I did, I blocked that out because I don't want to watch that.
I think about that at least once a week. And I don't remember anything else about House of Cards.
Who was Kevin Spacey more interested in?
Well, now we know, don't we?
Some fun facts. This is Woody Allen's first film to gross over $100 million. As of 2016, it is his highest grossing film.
Yay.
Woody Allen attempted to shoot the film in Paris in 2006, but abandoned the project as it was too expensive. In that version, the lead would have been played by David Krumholtz, who I could also see doing this pretty well.
Who is that?
You might remember him best as Bernard the Elf from The Santa Claus, or as Goldstein from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh.
He was on Numbers.
Okay.
He was in Oppenheimer recently. Put some respect on David Krumholtz. He's a great actor.
Owen Wilson did it best.
This is one of 4 movies in which Rachel McAdams stars as the love interest of a time traveler. The others being The Time Traveler's Wife, in which she played the title wife Claire to Eric Bana's character, About Time, in which she plays the girlfriend Mary of Domhnall Gleeson's character, and Doctor Strange, in which she played the girlfriend Dr. Palmer of surgeon Stephen Strange. In none of these movies does Rachel McAdams' character participate in the time traveling herself.
Do you think that her agent is like, well, is there time travel?
I think he's like, we have carved out a very specific niche for you, Rachel. Nobody's ever going to think about time travel without thinking, who should date them? Rachel McAdams.
Yep. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And lastly, due to Woody Allen's habit of only giving actors the script pages concerning their characters, Tom Hiddleston was unaware of the film's time travel storyline until he met Owen Wilson on set and asked why he wasn't wearing period accurate clothing like the rest of the cast.
I actually really love that. How do you feel about that?
Tom Hiddleston was like, "We're just in a movie about the 20s. What's this guy doing here?"
Yeah. What's going on?
Tom Hiddleston was like,
Um,
"I thought this was an F. Scott Fitzgerald biopic.
no wonder I'm not making any money from this.
I'm gonna be pissed at my agent."
That's really funny. Oh God, I was going to ask you something about. Oh, do you? Okay, so I have recently discovered the power of the algorithm. Do you have like a very specific niche algorithm on your Instagram feed?
I mean, no, doesn't everybody get Batman the Animated Series and New England Patriot stuff?
Is that all you get?
It's not all I get, but it's a lot of what I get.
So I've very recently have had two, I didn't realize. I mean, listen, you know that what you engage with, it gives you more of, right? Like we kind of
Sure.
understand that to be true, but I have two really weird niche things that have started on mine. And it's incredible how easily you can be targeted, right? So I have a group chat with Corey and our friend Danny, and it is just all we do is send each other memes that have to do with hot dogs. So a humongous portion of my feed is now hot dog
You
related,
fucking
right?
glizzy goblins.
Yes, yes, yeah, like things like that. But the other thing is, I've very quickly or very slowly, I should say. So, and you can cut all of this out of the podcast if you want. But I've started to look at a lot of like dog stuff on Instagram,
Okay.
specifically golden retrievers. And I joke around with Frank all the time, and I'm like, the second I get pregnant, we're getting a golden retriever. And now I've started to get this really niche content about how you should get a golden retriever before you get pregnant.
I mean, it hears you. It knows what you. It sees you when you're sleeping. It knows when you're awake. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. Like, I didn't even think that there were people out there making videos about like top 5 reasons to get a golden retriever puppy before you get. I'm like, what?
I looked into getting a heated blanket one time, and now I've gotten it like 800 times on my thing. It's like,
It's
come
wild.
on, you fucking want it. Come on, come on.
Yeah, you know you want this. It's crazy. Anyway, back to the movie.
Where were I had finished my fun facts, so we're not back to the movie. Are we back to the verdicts?
Oh my God, I think we are. I think that Woody Allen movies are just such gems because they're not these big, elaborate, like plot hole filled. We got to come up with something that's going to blow their minds. They're just really great stories. They have very interesting characters. I think, in particular, Midnight in Paris does a wonderful job of telling you a story without having to over explain itself. It does a good job of leaving out what needs to be left out, i.e., the cell phones. And on top of it all, it brings to life so many people that we know of from the history books, from, class in high school, and really gives them life and does both a good job of showing us why someone would be nostalgic for this time period and also reminding us that the present is the only opportunity that we have to live, right? And so you need to kind of take the lessons that maybe were learned in the time period that you're nostalgic for and apply them to your day to day. But ultimately, that you only have one life. It has to be worth it. I think this movie is cute and funny and charming. I think the performances are incredible. I think it is the perfect amount of time. I think the story is digestible, and I love it. So I think it's a movie to watch before you die.
I think it's cute and funny, and you said it's good. It's not great, and I very much agree with all of that. I also found it a bit of a slog at times, and I think
What?
there are times where I just sort of fall off the train, and I'm just like, okay, we can get to it. And it reminded me of a Twilight Zone episode in the sense of I feel like the story could have been done in a half hour to an hour. And it's a very Woody Allen thing that there are just romances. I think it's more believable when it's Owen Wilson than Woody Allen. That's just like, no, these women are just in love with him now. Like Adriana's just, for some reason, she is in love with him. And I just think it was fine. Like, I think there's a reason I hadn't revisited it since 2011 because having watched it now, I definitely have less reverence for it than I did in 2011. Because 2011, I feel like that Dylan watched it and was like, oh, yes, this is very smart and I like it. And yes, I'm very clever because I like this Woody Allen movie. 2025, Dylan was like, yeah, that was fine. So, not a movie to watch before you die for me, but if you're a fan of Woody Allen, yeah, you should watch it. So it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. It's solid.
Okay. What would you do differently to make it a movie to watch before you die? What notes would you, Dylan Pollock, give to Woody Allen to make this a better movie? Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. I'm genuinely curious.
Well, you got to make me laugh more. Maybe cut out more. I don't know, more of the maybe cut out more of the surrealists. I think he wanted to have more of these classic characters in the movie because he likes it, but some of
Hmm.
it just didn't connect. And I was like, we don't need, any of the Dolly stuff. We really just need the Fitzgeralds, Stein, and Hemingway. So everybody else you really get to, you don't need that much of, and
Hmm.
it just is taking away. I think honestly, I just think there's not enough there for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I feel like right
Well,
now you're trying to look up synonyms of asshole that you can
no,
say
no,
to
no,
me.
no, no. No, no. Okay. That's
Perhaps
cool.
I'm pedantic like Paul. I don't know, but you know what?
You might be.
Yeah,
It's okay. I still love you. And ultimately, don't come crying to me when Woody Allen meets his demise.
I think you'll come crying to me, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to be like, I told you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway. All
in
right.
the Woody
Well,
Allen circle, very sad. I mean, we talked about it. Diane Keaton passing. That was terribly sad. Yeah,
oh, that was gut-wrenching. I was a little surprised that he didn't like make a statement unless I missed it, and he did.
Woody Allen somewhat smartly has stepped back from the limelight the same way that like when's the last time you heard from Roman Polanski? He's actually coming out making a lot of statements on things.
Oh, Woody Allen remembers Diane Keaton.
So he did say something.
Yeah, he wrote something in the Free Press on October 12th.
He
Oh
was just
man.
always a very ugly man.
Yeah, but he was charming. I can't believe he outlived her. Like, that's pretty crazy.
He was like 20 years older, right? Or something like that, like 15 years older.
Yeah, he's definitely older than her.
Yeah. Well, as the older one, Gab, do you want to say the things we say at the end?
You know, when we were younger, I loved being older than you, and now it's a little depressing. But I'm only older than you by like 2 months, and
14 days? Two
yeah,
and a half
14
months,
days
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, 2.5. Wow, 2.5 months.
Go
Um,
on, you old motherfucker.
all right. Hold on, I gotta get my glasses.
Wrap it up on the
Um,
time.
glasses, which that guy Kyle didn't have.
I was just thinking
Um,
that, yeah.
Okay, so listen, if you like this podcast, we are supported by viewers like you. So if you could go to the link tree below and click where it says Venmo and just send me a couple of bucks, that would be really great.
If you send an
While you're,
unspecified amount of money, we'll send you a tote bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Dylan will send you a tote bag if you send me money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're also going to find in that same link tree a link to our friends at the Hall of Pods podcasting network. And once you've listened to a couple of episodes from their stuff, which you like but don't like as much as you like our stuff,
Of course.
you can send us an email at movies to watch before you die at gmail.com. You can let us know how you feel about this movie, any of the other movies that we've covered, and even maybe send us a suggestion for a movie. We will likely not take it, but you could if you wanted to.
We'll probably get
I'll
to it
tell
at
you what.
some point when it's become our own idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And additionally, if you send me money, you're far more likely to get that movie reviewed. You know
Oh,
what I'm
we're
saying? Like
bribable. We're very
grease
bribable.
the wheel a little bit. And then also there's some other stuff. Like you could buy your own tote bag if you really want to. We do have a store with merch. And
Yeah, we don't have tote bags, Gab.
well, could we make a tote bag?
I'll have to figure out how to do that. But yeah, we could do
Okay, listen, if you really want a tote bag, we'll figure it out one way or the other.
that. You want some
Um,
sweatpants or a hat or a t-shirt? We got that.
yeah, we have sweatpants. Hot ticket. And
Who doesn't like
lastly,
sweatpants? People like sweatpants.
people do like sweatpants.
You
I
can
think,
lounge in them. You can sweat in them. They're good for so much.
yeah. They're great. Listen, the only thing I want you to know is that if you've made it this far, we appreciate you. And despite Dylan's review of this movie, we are an extraordinarily pro Woody Allen podcast. Thank you and good night.
A man in love with a woman from a different era. I see a photograph.
I see a film.
I see an insurmountable problem.
I see a rhinoceros.